Have you ever met someone who walks into a room and instantly becomes magnetic? People laugh at their jokes faster, trust them quicker, open up to them without even knowing why. And the craziest part? Most of the time, they're not the smartest person in the room. They're not the richest. They're not even the most attractive. Yet somehow, everyone gravitates toward them. Why? Because they understand one psychological trick that completely changes the way people feel around them. And today, you're gonna learn it too. This is not manipulation. It's not fake confidence. It's not some cheesy pickup tactic from the internet. This is something deeply rooted in human psychology. A hidden mechanism inside the brain that controls connection, trust, and emotional attraction. Once you understand it, conversations become easier. People start respecting you more, liking you more, remembering you more. And the wildest part, most people spend their entire lives doing the exact opposite without realizing it. Think about it. Why do some people instantly feel exhausting to be around? Why do certain conversations drain your energy in seconds? And why do others make you feel seen, understood, and important almost immediately? That answer changes everything. The psychological trick is simple. People like people who make them feel important. Not impressed, not intimidated, important. And those are completely different things. Most people walk into conversations trying to prove themselves. They try to sound smart, funny, successful, interesting. They talk about their achievements, their opinions, their stories, their experiences, and ironically, the harder they try to be liked, the less magnetic they become, because human beings are emotionally self-centered. Not in a selfish way, in a psychological way. Every person you meet is constantly asking one unconscious question: how do I feel when I'm around you? That's it. That's the game. People do not remember every word you say. They remember the emotional experience you create. If someone feels judged around you, they pull away. If they feel ignored, they disconnect. But if they feel valued, heard, and emotionally elevated, their brain begins associating you with positive emotion. And once that association happens, attraction becomes automatic. This is why certain people become unforgettable after one conversation, while others disappear from memory instantly. One person fights for attention, the other gives attention in a powerful way. Now here's where it gets deeper. There's a reason this works on a neurological level. Every time someone feels understood or emotionally validated, the brain releases dopamine, the same chemical connected to pleasure, reward, and addiction. In other words, when you make people feel psychologically important, their brain literally rewards them for being around you. That's why charismatic people often seem addictive. Not because they talk the most, but because they trigger emotional reward systems inside other people. And once you see this pattern, you'll notice it everywhere. Think about the most beloved person in your friend group. Chances are they're not constantly trying to dominate conversations. They ask questions. They react genuinely. They remember small details. They make people feel interesting. That's the secret. Most people enter conversations trying to take value. Charismatic people enter conversations creating value emotionally. Huge difference. And once you understand that difference, your social life changes permanently. Suddenly people start texting you first, inviting you more, trusting you faster, opening up deeper. Not because you became someone else, but because you learned how human psychology actually works. But there's another layer almost nobody talks about. The trick only works if it feels authentic. People can sense fake energy instantly. You've probably felt this before. Someone compliments you, but it sounds forced. Someone pretends to listen, but they're just waiting for their turn to talk. Someone acts interested, but their eyes keep scanning the room. Humans are incredibly sensitive to emotional inconsistency. Your brain evolved to detect it for survival. That's why fake charisma collapses fast. Real connection comes from genuine curiosity. And this is where powerful people separate themselves from average people. Average people enter conversations focused on themselves. Powerful communicators become obsessed with understanding the other person, not to manipulate them, but because curiosity itself creates connection. Think about how rare it is today for someone to truly listen, without interrupting, competing, or redirecting the attention back to themselves. Almost nobody does it anymore. Everyone wants to be seen. Few people know how to truly see others. And because it's rare, it becomes powerful. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people meeting someone new at a party. The first person spends the entire conversation trying to sound impressive. They mention their job repeatedly, their travels, their achievements, their opinions on everything. The second person does something different. They ask thoughtful questions. They notice details. They react emotionally to what the other person says. They make the conversation feel alive. At the end of the night, who do you think people remember more positively? The answer surprises most people. It's usually the second person, even if they spoke less, because people don't connect deeply with people who impress them. They connect deeply with people who understand them emotionally. This is why some people with average looks and average status still become incredibly attractive socially. Their presence feels good, and feelings are stronger than logic. Always. Human beings make emotional decisions first and rationalize them later. That includes friendships, dating, business, and influence. The emotional experience comes before the intellectual judgment almost every time. And here's the dangerous mistake most people make. They think being liked comes from approval seeking, so they become overly agreeable. They laugh too hard, they chase validation, they try to please everyone constantly. But that actually lowers attraction. Why? Because emotional value decreases when someone appears desperate for acceptance. Confidence matters because it signals emotional stability, and emotionally stable people make others feel safe. That's why the real formula is balance. Make people feel important without losing your own sense of self. Listen deeply without becoming submissive. Show warmth without begging for approval. That combination creates what psychologists call secure charisma, the type of energy that naturally pulls people in. Think about someone who makes you feel comfortable immediately. They're relaxed, present, attentive, but they're not trying too hard. That energy changes social dynamics instantly. People trust calm confidence far more than loud confidence. Loud confidence often hides insecurity. Calm confidence signals certainty, and certainty is attractive on a primal level. There's also a hidden communication technique that amplifies this effect dramatically. It's called reflective attention. Most people listen just enough to respond, but charismatic people listen to understand emotional meaning. For example, if someone says, "Work has been stressful lately," most people answer with advice or switch topics. But someone socially intelligent might say, "Sounds like you've been carrying a lot mentally." Notice the difference? One response processes information, the other processes emotion. And emotion is where human connection lives. When people feel emotionally understood, they lower their guard. Walls disappear, conversations become deeper automatically. This is why therapists, great leaders, and highly charismatic individuals all use versions of the same principle. They create emotional safety. And emotional safety is one of the rarest experiences in modern life. Most people spend every day feeling judged, ignored, rushed, or misunderstood. So when someone finally makes them feel emotionally safe, the brain remembers it powerfully. Now let's talk about something even more important. Why this psychological trick changes your entire identity over time. Because once people start responding positively to you, your own confidence naturally increases. Social success creates emotional momentum. The more positive interactions you experience, the less fear you carry into future interactions. That's why socially skilled people often appear naturally confident. In reality, confidence is usually built through repeated emotional evidence. They learn that conversations are not battles to win, they are experiences to create. And once you stop trying to perform socially, everything becomes easier. Anxiety drops, authenticity rises, presence increases. People can feel that shift instantly. Most social anxiety comes from self-monitoring. Do they like me? Am I sounding weird? What should I say next? But charismatic people focus outward instead of inward. Their attention stays on the other person. Ironically, that outward focus makes them appear more confident and socially attractive automatically. And this applies everywhere. Dating, friendships, networking, content creation, leadership, even parenting. People emotionally bond with those who make them feel emotionally significant. Think about the creators online who build loyal audiences. It's not always because they have the best information. It's because viewers feel understood by them, seen by them, connected to them emotionally. Humans crave emotional resonance more than perfection. That's why authenticity consistently outperforms polished performance over the long term. People trust emotional honesty. They distrust rehearsed perfection. And this is incredibly important in a world filled with superficial interactions. Most conversations today are transactional, fast, distracted, half present. So when someone gives genuine attention, it feels almost shocking. Rare things become valuable automatically, and genuine presence has become rare. That's exactly why it works so powerfully now. But here's the twist nobody expects. The people who are most liked are often the people least obsessed with being liked, because desperation creates pressure, and pressure kills connection. When someone desperately wants approval, people feel emotionally responsible for their self-esteem. That becomes exhausting fast, but emotionally grounded people create freedom in conversations. They don't force outcomes, they don't chase validation. They simply create positive emotional experiences naturally. And paradoxically, that's what makes others want their approval even more. Human psychology is strange like that. The less emotionally needy someone feels, the more socially valuable they appear. This is why self-respect matters so much. If you constantly abandon your own opinions, boundaries, or personality to gain acceptance, people subconsciously lose respect. But when you combine authenticity with emotional intelligence, you become incredibly magnetic. Not because you're pretending to be perfect, but because your energy feels real. Let's make this practical. Starting today, stop entering conversations trying to be impressive. Instead, enter conversations trying to leave people feeling better about themselves. Notice their energy. Ask deeper follow-up questions. Remember details they mention. Use their name naturally. React emotionally instead of mechanically. Give people the rare experience of feeling fully heard. And watch what happens. People will start leaning toward you more physically during conversations. They'll smile more, open up faster, reach out more often afterward. Because emotionally intelligent communication activates something primal in human beings. We are wired for connection, wired for emotional validation. Wired to seek people who make us feel psychologically safe and significant. Once you understand that, social dynamics stop feeling random. You realize attraction is not magic, it's emotional experience. And there's one final piece you need to understand. This trick is powerful because it changes both people at once. When you genuinely focus on making others feel valued, you also escape your own insecurity temporarily. Your mind stops obsessing over yourself. Your awareness expands outward. That creates presence. And presence is incredibly rare today. Most people are physically somewhere but mentally somewhere else. Thinking about notifications, stress, anxiety, the next thing they want to say. So when someone finally gives full presence, it feels powerful almost instantly. That's why the most charismatic people are often the most present people. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, the most present. They make moments feel real, and real human connection has become one of the most valuable things in the modern world. So the next time you walk into a conversation, remember this. Stop trying so hard to be liked. Start making people feel important. Not through fake compliments, not through manipulation, through genuine attention, emotional awareness, and authentic curiosity. Because at the end of the day, people may forget your stories. They may forget your achievements. They may even forget your exact words, but they will never forget how they felt around you. And the person who understands that psychological truth will always have an advantage in life, relationships, business, and influence. If you master this skill, you won't need to chase attention anymore. People will naturally move toward you. Because human beings are always searching for one thing beneath everything else: the feeling of being deeply understood.